And the hardest part of that is you don't hear your kids. You're in a silent house and not hearing your kids run around is the...
I mean, it pisses me off sometimes, but yeah.
It pisses you off when they're there, right? But honestly,
it's a bigger pain for
sure. It's the saddest thing. Yeah. Like, I literally locked the doors, stayed in my house, and I was in there for like a week. I didn't leave. And now I couldn't sleep in our room. You know what I mean? So now I'm taking the mattress that's left, and I literally dragged it to the living room because I couldn't sleep in that room. You know what I mean? I couldn't sleep down the hall where the kids' rooms were because that hurt me like a lot.
Hey, well, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again to the next episode. As you guys can see, by myself here. My co-host is not here today. As our previous episode, we talked about how busy we are and how shitty it can be.
Oh, yeah.
But, the show must go on, and I have an upcoming trip. And so we have to do it today. We have to record, and so I have to.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Montreal. But, we have a guest today, Kyle Adair, a good friend of mine and ours, I guess. Yeah, like you.
Who else is here?
You're kind of friends with Tim as well.
Well,
I guess acquaintance.
He's you can tell him we're friends.
So, and you guys, we kind of, when we had Brett on, Bretsky, he's our good friend, and Kyle and Bretsky and I used to or do a podcast on the side too, and just kind of, so we all know each other, and welcome to the show. I know you listen religiously to this show. And I know you kind of asked me in the past, like, "Oh, when are you going to get me on the show?" And then when I asked you, I think you were just like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, I was definitely hesitant for sure.
But I think your story is worthy of the show to tell your story, because I'm guaranteed there's lots of men that go through the same shit that you went through. And so I think it's important to share, and I know you talk about it very. Is there another fly here? No, that's just a fluff. No. Oh no, there's another one. we have a fruit fly problem here.
Got it.
Did you?
He's probably dead. I don't know.
So again, we don't really take these things out. We gotta have a little bit of fun too. So. Oh yeah. But yeah, so your story is worthy of the show, and telling your side of the story, and just your story actually.
And there is always two sides to every story.
Well, there's a saying that there's three sides to the story. There's one side, the other side, and then the truth. Yeah.
And I personally don't have any reason to hide or lie about anything.
Yeah,
everything comes out in the wash.
Well, exactly, and so we're going to talk about basically your relationship that went sideways a little bit, but you guys do have
sideways is more like upside down.
You guys have children together, and sometimes couples do manage to co-parent very well, and sometimes the parents have different views on certain things, and I think that's where it becomes a big challenge.
For sure. Yeah.
When you're trying to do something good for your kids and the other side's not allowing, and vice versa. I think there's both ways, but you'll have the opportunity to tell your story. But before we do that, let's just do the regular thing that we do every show, is to check in.
Sounds good.
Cheers. I'll go. I'll check in, and then we'll get to you.
Sounds good.
Today, I am a solid 6.
Oh, that's good.
And it's been really, really busy. As I mentioned last episode, I've been sick, so that kind of pushed me back my work that I was supposed to be done basically last weekend, and which is today. What's the date today? Because this will be released
16th,
a little later.
I think.
Yeah, it was 18th today. I was supposed to be done like 3 days ago. Unfortunately, I'm about 75%, 80% done. So it's been a lot of go. Like, I'm pulling basically almost 20-hour days. So
well, I was there before. I know
it's rough, but things are getting done. So I'm feeling better about it. It's just had a good talk with my wife about it, because while I was sick for 2 weeks, she was doing everything, like helping out with the kids. School just started, right?
That's tough, yeah.
And so, like, okay, back to the routine. She's starting her school because she's a teacher, and like, September is usually fucking busy for her.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm not feeling good.
Yeah, right. And so she's been amazing in helping us, or doing everything, not helping me, because I don't think we help each other in a relationship. We should be, we're splitting the housework, right? And so now she's doing it all. And so the other day I was editing something, and I basically screwed up and lost about 3 hours of work. And it was partially I was being rushed by my family to go get the food ready and everything, and I really wanted to do it, but it's just like, shit, I just got to do this, just one more minute turned into another 10-15 minutes, right? And then I was rushing, so I hit the wrong button and just lost. I'm like, fuck. I went upstairs.
What is with you? Like,
and that's
always delete a show.
It happens, yeah. It happened to me multiple times, but managed to get about 70% of that what I lost back. So
that's good.
So it was good that I was able to recover some of that shit. So, but yeah, like that 10 minutes of me freaking out was like brutal, and so me and my wife had to sit down and just like, okay, like, look, I know I need another week. And then I just need to fucking catch up on this shit and just do it. So
she understands.
She does. Oh, she does. She gets it. Like, she understands, and she's just like, just tell me how much longer, and if you need more time after that, just give me a heads up, and
we'll figure it
I
out.
might not be happy about it, but like, I understand that you need to do. So yeah. So but things are moving good. So
that's good.
How about yourself? What number are you today?
I would say,
and this could be today, a week, or a month, whatever you want to do.
Today, like, it's been a good week so far.
Okay.
It's only Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say I'm about a 7.
Okay.
7.5.
And what's your norm usually?
My norm.
Because like some people might be like, okay, a 5 is like a middle,
Right now, I've been hovering around that.
Okay.
With my new job.
That's right. Yeah.
My last job, I would have been, 4 or 5.
Okay.
Every single day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just dreaded going to work. And this job just landed on me. And ever since then, it's just been like, I've never said this, but it's like I enjoy going to work.
Okay. Yeah. No, and that's a good thing, because like I always believe like being at work, like that's your second family. You spend at least 8 hours, minimum 8 hours.
Yeah, you spend more time with them than you do your
with
family.
With these people,
right?
yeah, exactly. Like random people that work at the company or wherever it is, and you have to be happy, because if you're not gonna be happy, like think about it, a third of your day is then shit, right? So that's good.
People aren't strict there. It's like just like do your job, go home.
Just get your shit done. And as long as everything's done, then it's good.
No one's barking over your back. No one's trying to find you. No one, you know what I mean? Like, just it's the best job I've ever had in my life.
Well, that's good. I'm happy for you.
And I sit in a loader all day now.
Yeah.
Just lifting cars.
So they're sitting around and
extra 20 minutes on each break. Nobody cares. Like it's perfect, man.
Welcome to unions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was in a union before. It just wasn't a great one.
Yeah.
And like now it's man, it's great. I get almost every holiday off.
Yeah.
Like nice. I think I get every holiday off, even like both sides.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can we say that like you work for the city?
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
So I mean, working for the city is pretty fucking good.
Picking up cars with loaders, man.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is,
that's my city job.
It comes with a good pension.
Yeah. Oh,
benefits. So
are great,
benefits, right? Like everything is kind of like pretty cushy.
Oh man, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
good.
awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, I hurt my back the other week, but so that put me out for a week.
Yeah.
And can I say what I bought or what?
Sure.
So I bought that TENS machine for my back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I was laying in bed, and I also bought a bidet.
That's right. Welcome to the club.
And man, I've never thought I'd say this, but it was like the best thing I've ever bought.
Yeah.
The stream's kind of hitting offside right now. I got to fix something, but it's working. And
well, it's one of those things. You also didn't spend a lot of money, right? Like if you spend for more money, then you will get like a higher end one.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of the day,
And
it gets the job done.
The best part about it is I submitted my receipts to WCB.
Nice.
And they took it.
Nice.
So I was
there
like,
you go.
right on. I was like, well, the bidet, it's, I'm going to need it. I can't twist. And
Yeah.
like,
Hey.
yeah. Okay. She's like, I don't need details. I'm like, I wasn't going to give them.
Perfect.
Right,
So that's beautiful. Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that things are going well
it's
for
awesome,
you.
man.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get into the
boy.
dirt.
Oh boy.
Let's get into the nitty gritty of you. So, I've known you now for a few years, and like I've heard some stories about your relationship with your ex, it's pretty crazy. It can get pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the other gentleman you had on here. I know he's part of the group. I can't remember his name. Leo.
Oh, Leo.
Yeah. But yeah, when I heard his story, I thought, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can say you love someone, and it's just like there's a different person behind those eyes that have been screwing with you for a long time.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So
it's for real.
I'll tell a little bit about you, and then we'll get into the more details with your story. But
sounds good.
So yeah, you've been with this woman for about 12 years, right? And then she just basically up and left one day.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
And then I think you found out some more shit that what was going on. Really,
there was stuff behind when she left. Yeah.
But you guys have 2 children together.
2 girls. Yeah.
2 girls.
Yeah.
And from what you've told me and what I've seen is that you're trying to do, or I guess steer your kids one way, and she's doing a full-on 180 and going
Squiggle line the
all
other
over
way,
the place. And so, I always say, like, with relationships, shit happens in relationships, and at the end of the day, like, if I was to split, maybe I was a piece of shit husband or whatever, but like, you want to take care of your kids.
Oh, of course.
And so, you can be a great dad and a shitty husband, and that's okay, but then once the couples go apart, the couple should be focused on the kids.
Yeah.
Take your personal shit out of it.
Exactly. I don't care if she likes me. I mean, I don't care if we get along. I mean, I'd like to get along for the kids' side of it.
That's right. But so let's get into the big past. Like, you guys been together, things were good.
So essentially, we were together for 12 years, and things started to go downhill. And we bought a house over in Transcona together. Like, I grew up on the other side of the city, and my whole life I grew up without a dad.
Yep.
Right? So my dream was I need to be a dad, and I need to be a good dad. You know what I mean? Like, I can't run away.
So
like,
you didn't have this father figure.
I didn't have a father figure.
But
so
you knew what you don't want to become.
Exactly. And I wanted to give my kids one day what I didn't have, but I mean, sometimes, especially in this economy, it's hard to give your kids anything, really. Like, everything's so expensive now. But anyway, so we had 2 kids, and so essentially my firstborn, I was going down a rough path, and she essentially being born, finding out that she's like my ex was pregnant, saved both of our lives, at that point in time.
Okay.
And then, so, I mean, she grew up. She was 5. We found out that Brianna was pregnant again.
Yeah.
So we had Hadley, so Taryn and Hadley, and then so pretty much at that point, that's when our relationship started to dwindle, and I found out.
So there were signs already that shit was not necessarily all.
There were signs,
rainbows and unicorns,
and like, I mean, big signs.
Okay.
Like, I knew she cheated on me.
Oh, okay.
Couple different times and it was all people that I knew. And so there's at least 3 of those.
Like, did you find out from somebody?
I found out from somebody else, and then it was just like, oh, it won't happen again. And me being the kind of person I am, I still took her back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I wanted it to work. Anyway, moving on. We we moved all the way across the city, got away from the people that were not the greatest people to be around.
Toxic, yeah.
And we started a life over here in Transcona. So we bought a house.
So for the ones that are from outside Winnipeg, is basically across the city.
Across the city, yeah. What, 40 minutes away?
Yeah.
Or so?
Not a big city, but yeah, like still, like you're moving away from.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, we moved across the city and we got a house, a nice house, and we were in there for about 2 years, and then things just started to go sour. And we're like, okay, we're going to split up. We had to tell the kids, which is the hardest thing to tell. I mean, it was...
Well, how old were your kids?
So 6 and 1.
6 and 1. So the 1-year-old...
The 1-year-old wasn't going to really understand it. Like, I mean, she gets it now. She essentially knows that we've never been together. You know what I mean? Like, my older one knows, right?
Well, yeah, because like a 6-year-old, it's like, well, why is mom and dad not together?
So that was one of the hardest things to ever tell your kids.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Try to explain it to a 6-year-old. Right?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Like, but then it was like, okay, so kind of give them the idea that it's like, you're gonna get 2 Christmases, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And like,
you're trying to cushion the fall.
Yeah, like, I mean, but I mean, kids don't really care about that either, right? And they're devastated that mom and dad are breaking up, and there's gonna be 2 homes. Yeah. So the 6-year-old anyway, not so much the 1-year-old. Now the plan was to sell the house, and we got a realtor. He come in, takes all his pictures, does everything a realtor does. Yeah. And then puts a sign on the yard. And all of a sudden, the sign's there for about a week or 2. And I come home from work. And I was working extremely long hours. Okay. I didn't see my family during the week at all. Like, I was no less than 15, 16-hour days.
What were you doing at the time?
Concrete.
Okay.
And so I would be out of the house 4 hours before they even woke up in the morning. And I wouldn't be back till probably 5 hours after my kids went to bed. Yeah. So, anyway, I come home one day, and the for sale sign is gone. Like, it was there, and it's gone. And I'm like, what's... Yeah. No one's answering me, right? And I also come home, and it was actually the day... about a week before that, the for sale sign left. I came home, and there was nothing left inside my house. Or no, first the camper left. And then I came home like a week later. I walked in the door, and 5 people walked in the door behind me, and another 4 people walked in the door behind me, and it was all her family and friends. Like, her
just taking shit out,
loading boxes, rifling everything into bags.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean?
So she just made the decision.
She wasn't there with the kids.
Oh, okay. And she made a decision on what she wants to have.
Yeah. So she ran off to her mom and dad's place.
Yeah.
And then like her parents and her sisters and cousins, whatever, came over, and it was like, what is everyone doing? I'm watching not only her stuff go in boxes, but my stuff go in boxes too.
Oh, okay.
Even like personal items, like stuff that like I had when I was given to me when I was a baby. They were just instructed to just pack everything as much as they can. So obviously they're not leaving my house. And I mean, me owning that house is like, okay, somebody's going to get hurt here.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I'm kind of, have to think about it. It's like, okay, well, if I do that, well,
yeah, she gets everything. Yeah. She gets everything.
This is going to look horrible on me. So I called the cops, and they told me the best thing to do is you need to just walk away and settle everything in court. And I did that. Yeah. I left. And getting anything back in court was ridiculous. It was like, oh, do you have receipts for this? I was like, I got this when I was a baby. Yeah. Like, why would I have receipts for this? So
it was really hard to prove that she took certain things.
So I left, and I came back later that night, and it was just like walking into a house, like a house you just bought. It's empty.
Jesus.
There's a bed left. There's like a pillow left, and my clothes. And the hardest part of that is you don't hear your kids. Yeah. You're in a silent house, and not hearing your kids run around is the.
I mean, it pisses me off sometimes, but yeah.
It pisses you off when they're there,
Yeah.
right? But honestly,
it's a bigger pain for
it's
sure.
the saddest thing.
Yeah.
Like, I literally locked the doors, stayed at my house, and I was in there for like a week.
Yeah.
I didn't leave.
I mean,
And now I couldn't sleep in our room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I'm taking the mattress that's left, and I literally dragged it to the living room.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't sleep in that room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't sleep down the hall where the kids' rooms were.
Yeah.
Because that hurt me like a lot.
Yeah.
And so then I got nothing to sit on, and I'm sitting on a lawn chair in my living room staring at four walls.
Okay, so kind of fast forward a little bit now. Did you get some of that stuff back, or what happened? Like because
Let's just say probably 75% of the stuff I still haven't gotten back.
Jesus.
I only got back two things.
And okay.
The two things were like a little it was like Mr. Sandman thing that my auntie bought me when I was a baby.
Yeah.
And my brother, for being in his wedding, gave all the people like that were in the wedding party a Louisville Slugger.
Yeah.
That's like initialed with our some special that means something to us, right? And they're all personalized. When I got that back, I swear to God, it's like they're hitting rocks in the backyard with it. Like, it was a bat that was never used. It was kept safe.
So, yeah. So basically, like, she sold the camper. She's like sold probably some of the furniture.
No, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 days before the camper left, the window was smashed.
Okay.
In the camper, and I messaged her. I'm like, "What's going on with the window? Did you know about this?" She says, "No, I didn't know." Well, I had the keys in my truck.
Yeah.
So the window was smashed. So I, went in there, did a quick sweep of the glass.
Yeah.
Put a board in there, taped it back in until I could get it fixed. And my idea, it was tough to get into that window. I couldn't imagine someone climbing through there, and they couldn't reach the door. From there.
Yeah.
So I fixed the window. It's not a big camper, you know what I mean? It's a quarter the size of yours.
Yeah, whatever.
And
15, 20 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're in there, you sweep up the glass, you don't see anything really missing much, right? Then, it was a few days later after that, the camper disappeared. And I'm like, what happened to the camper? She's I don't know. But I could tell it's like she didn't care.
Yeah.
Well, I found out afterwards she broke the window, took what she wanted out of the camper. She declared bankruptcy. So the camper got repossessed.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
now,
you did tell me that.
In all this time, too, when we had this house together, she had her day job where she would, work in front of a computer. So it's like every payday I'd give her my portion of the bills and like my half of the house, right? And I'd, give her everything, and she'd put the cell phone bills over here, and she'd send all the money where it needs to go. And I was fine with that. Well, when she declared bankruptcy, she stopped paying all that stuff months before she declared bankruptcy. So she had, so I found out afterwards.
So all that money you were giving her
was just going into somewhere
in her pocket.
A bag in the ground, I don't know where. Yeah. It probably wasn't in a bank, right? Because they would see all that extra money and wonder what's going on. So when I came home and I noticed the for sale sign gone, I called the realtor. I said, well, where's the for sale sign? He said, I can't tell you anything. Why can't you tell me anything?
Like your name was on the house, right?
Both of our names were on the house.
Yeah.
Her name was on the camper, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we went into it, but her name was on it, right? Yeah. So he couldn't tell me anything. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I hired you to sell this house, and you can't tell me anything? And he goes, well, you got to talk to her trustee. And at the time, I'm like, what the fuck's a trustee? Like, what are you talking about,
Yeah.
And then I found out later on that she declared bankruptcy. So what happened was they now can't sell the house. They can't. Now the camper was repossessed.
Yeah.
Taken away, and everything was gone. And I had like $500 of the tools in there and all my stuff.
Yeah.
All gone.
It's all because they just hooked it up into.
I could care less about the campers. My tools, man.
Yeah, tools probably were worth more than the camper, right?
So then, I later on, this kind of dragged on for a long time. I met somebody else. Like a meantime, I was just like staring at this girl's house, and they drove by there and saw them. Went back and loading up more stuff. So later that night I went back, you know what I mean? And when I went back, that's when I went back and I literally locked myself in the house for like a week.
Yeah.
Didn't talk to anyone. And my mom was living across the city and she was in an apartment. She's like, she couldn't get a hold of me. Came and kicked the door down.
Worried, yeah.
And she's like, I'm moving in because you're not answering the phone. You're not talking to anyone. No one knows where you are.
Yeah.
Your truck's been here for a week. So my mom actually moved in for a bit.
Did you like skip work and shit? Or
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I was in the darkest hole of my life. Like I said, again, it sucked that my partner is gone, right? But the biggest thing that hurt me the most is the kids.
Yeah.
And I can't contact them. She won't answer phone calls. Nothing.
Okay, so we talked about your relationship now with your ex, and it was a very toxic towards the end, and then it got even worse because like she wouldn't let you talk to your kids. Now, how long was it from the day you guys split up till you were actually now trying to figure out how are we going to do this with the kids and with the divorce and everything? Like, was that like a year, 2 years, or how long of a period?
I didn't see my kids for about 3 months.
Okay.
They're just taken away.
Yeah.
You know?
And you had, you couldn't do anything to go see them, as in,
No,
legally?
it wasn't legal. It was her.
Yeah. But did you know where she was staying?
I had an idea because I knew now that she's declared bankruptcy, where are you going to stay? This was your home. You can't really just go get another home, you know? So I had a good idea that she was staying with her mom.
Yeah.
Right? And so I found out, I found out that she was staying with her mom.
Yeah.
And then her parents were kind of all against me too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again,
there's
two sides to every story,
and
right?
They believe they protect their daughter, or whatever.
Course,
yeah,
of course, right?
Hey, Tommy, among all the episodes we've recorded, there's one common theme, and that's getting therapy. We've talked about it lots.
Many, many times.
You had a really tough time making that first phone call. I had a tough time making that first phone call. I didn't even know if the person I was going to see was the right person, but you got to just try. Thank goodness we have a sponsor that makes it way easier now. BetterHelp has an online platform that allows you to fill out a questionnaire. They connect you with a therapist, and you get to communicate with them however you want. And it makes it way less scary to be connected with someone. And if you're not into the person you talk to, they'll sign you another one right away. I've gotten assigned mine already, and I can't wait to use it. By the time you hear this, I will have had my first session, and I'm super pumped to talk about it on the show.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it, and it's very easy to sign up. It took us maybe 5 minutes to sign up, and you answer just simple questions, and next thing you know, you got a message that you will be paired up with a therapist, and within the same day, we got the therapist already, and the name and a message from them, and we were able to communicate with them. So it's extremely easy. So please go to BetterHelp.com. Yeah, that's the thing. BetterHelp.com /Quiet Riot Show, and you get to also enjoy 10% off for your first month if you sign up using this link. So again, right here, I'm going to be doing it from here. Yeah, it's BetterHelp.
Am I screwing it up?
.com /Quiet Riot Show. Yeah, sign up today, and you're not going to regret it, because I'm already enjoying it. Just the fact that we connected with a therapist.
Me too, man.
Thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this podcast. So you guys split up, and then you said about 3 months roughly, plus minus here and there, a few months. But so you found out where she was, and then you went after your kids, basically.
Yeah, I went and got a lawyer.
Okay.
And so
which is not cheap.
No. It was actually a lawyer that my mom used for my brother's dad.
Okay.
Like years ago for her divorce, and he was great, but he was also a lot younger then.
Yeah. So he was an old school lawyer.
So he was an old school lawyer, and he did everything. He got everything finalized. I mean, so I gave him all my information. We now go to court.
So and you guys weren't married, right?
No.
I assume law. So, and I don't know what the legality is behind this. But
we're engaged.
Okay.
We were engaged twice, 2 rings, because she didn't like the first one.
Oh my God.
And then lost
I'm
the
not
second
even,
one.
I'm not even gonna get, because I think we could write at least 4 episodes about
I could write a
engagement
novel.
rings. Yeah. But so, where was I going with this now? So you guys, I don't know whether there is a difference if you're married and one of the couples claims bankruptcy, or when you're common law and so one of them claims bankruptcy. Because I mean, you guys own the house together. Just because she claims bankruptcy, that doesn't mean that you cannot take care of the house, right?
So,
like I'm just like, I don't know what's behind it, but if I hear that, okay, my wife was claiming bankruptcy and like she was gonna leave me, I'm like, okay, get the fuck out of my house.
mm-hmm.
If you figure your shit out and you have no right to take any of my stuff, that's what I'm thinking, right?
So okay, before the lawyers then, and she left, and now I got to kind of pick up all the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Letters start coming to the door, in the mail, and it's like, oh, Hydro is like 3,000 behind. Property taxes are 6,000 behind. Mortgage is in the rears by this much. And I'm wondering, well, how is this possible? Because
I was giving you money.
I paid you. You know what I mean? And you put all the money where it needed to go.
Were you guys doing cash, or it was
all e-transfer? Like we actually had a shared bank. Like I had my account, she had her account,
and then you had a shared.
And then we had a shared bank because of the house
to pay for the bills and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So
you put the money in there, and then she took it out to go pay the bills.
Pay the bills, yeah. And so when she declared bankruptcy, she was taking that money for, I don't know how long, but I could only assume months, just for how far in the rears everything was.
Jesus.
So I talked to Hydro, and essentially there was no catching up with what I made at the time, which was good money. Yeah. But paying the mortgage. By
yourself, like. And
paying the mortgage plus catching up on the mortgage and on Hydro and all this other stuff.
On the debt,
all the debt that was left behind. And it wasn't even just that. It was weird because her student loans somehow, even though we weren't married, fell onto my shoulders because she declared bankruptcy. And I fought that. I said, like, that's not really right because, I mean, we're not married. Yes, we're common law. But so that got wiped. Hydro ended up essentially doing me a big favor, and they zeroed it out. They zeroed it out, and they said, "Okay, look, you're gonna start. You're gonna start from here."
That's that was probably a few $1,000s.
Oh yeah. I don't have like the dollar amount, but it was hefty.
Yeah.
The bank couldn't do anything, like for the mortgage.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a house that's not being sold anymore because of what she's done. So it took me a really long time to come to terms, and in this meantime, this is now months later, and I'm still in the house.
Okay.
Like, I'm paying the mortgage, but I'm not catching up. I'm just paying.
And you have no furniture.
I've got no furniture except, like, my mom moved in right now, and, so that was kind of a helped me out quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then later on, I met Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
And
who's your current partner?
Current fiance, yeah. And that was the craziest thing because she met me in the hardest time of my life.
Okay.
And I don't understand how she stuck around. Like, she literally helped me through all this legal stuff.
We ask her that every day.
Fuck. Everybody asks, why is she with me? But she honestly was like an angel, you know. And in this time, I also went and saw one of someone like Rachel, you know, and it was weird. Like they said to my mom, your son is going to meet somebody with long brown hair in the healthcare field and whatnot, right?
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, bullshit. Like, that would be amazing.
Bam,
you know
it happens.
I mean? Then my buddies actually sent me a message saying, hey, let's go to Lactabani. I'm playing a gig out in Lactabani on this guy's dock. And it's the biggest hillbilly thing ever.
Yeah. Of course.
And
it's an inside joke.
Yeah. And so it was Rock the Dock, and everyone's got their boats there, listening to music. There's like, I don't know, $500,000 boat sitting in the water. I'm standing on the dock, and up swims Michelle.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, not bad. Like, I'm just a bum standing on the side of the dock. Everyone else is in these nice boats.
Yeah.
And that's where we started.
Funny. Yeah.
And I mean, so she really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And so now we started fighting.
So this was
it.
How long was this when you met her after you splitting up with your ex?
I'd say about a year and a half.
Year and a half, okay.
Like, I didn't think it was. I thought it was just something to.
So
I didn't think it was going to grow to this.
Okay, so just want to backtrack a little bit. So after about 3 months, you were finally, like, when you guys split up, you were able to see your kids because you found out where she is.
I found out where she is. We took her to court.
Yeah, and then
or mediation, I guess it is.
Okay.
And
is it cheaper?
Mediation is.
Yeah.
But mediation is just like the first step.
Yeah.
Like the lawyer suggests
try to figure it out without the court. Yeah.
And so we did mediation, and she said to the judge, it's still a judge. The judge says, well, what's your idea of splitting time with the kids with Kyle?
Yeah.
She goes, well, he can have weekends. And he goes, okay, great. And I'm like, okay, right on.
Yeah.
Right? And her idea of weekends blew the judge's like mind, because she goes, he can pick the girls up Friday after school and drop them off Friday night, pick them up Saturday morning, drop them off Saturday night, and pick them up Sunday morning and drop them off Sunday night. And the judge looked at her. He's like, what do you like? What do you want?
So you thought right away, okay, she's crazy.
Like, there's something's wrong here.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, he doesn't have any criminal background. He's never done anything wrong to kids.
Yeah. There's no reason.
There's no reason. He doesn't have any like drug habits, or
he's not a drunk. He's got a job.
Straight.
Yeah.
He's pretty straight, you know. And so they said, well, we'll start him with weekends. And what pissed me off about that was, I am the father of these kids.
Yeah.
You know, what do you mean you'll start me with weekends?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so up to this certain point of 6 years old, for my 6 and 1, I was with them all the time.
Yeah.
And now you're going to start me with weekends.
And it's interesting that the court was favored in her, and usually they do tend to favor in the mom's side, but like, she just claimed bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yeah.
She clearly didn't pay the bills. So was very irresponsible. And I'm not saying you're the most responsible guy, but you had a full-time job.
Yeah.
And you went to work, you came home, you brought the money home, you gave her half to pay for everything, and like,
whatever she needed.
Did that mean fuck all in court?
I guess.
Jesus.
And so anyway, this lawyer had everything kind of wrapped up in a bow as to how everything was going to work. I get them one night during the week for the evening for dinner and stuff, and every second weekend.
So it's every second weekend, not every weekend.
It's every second weekend.
And that was right from the start.
Right from the start. And I told, like...
And that was now how many years ago?
Oh, God.
Like, your daughter's now 16, right?
Yeah, 15. So like 10
about
years ago.
9-10 years ago.
Yeah. And, like, I said, well, I want, 50-50. And he's like, well, no, let's just start with every second weekend. And I'm looking at my lawyer, and he's like, just take it. Like, that's a godsend. I'm like, how is that a godsend?
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't make any sense. So now they this lawyer wrapped everything up. Okay. I go home and I felt like I kind of like I won something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. It's step one.
It's step one, but most cases it's, 10 steps forward, 20 steps back.
Yeah.
And so I went home and everyone around me, my current fiance, my mom, like my little support group, they're like, you can't stay here.
Yeah.
Like you are so far behind in the house.
Yeah, it's just eating you up. And
you got to leave the house.
Yeah.
Like you'll never, ever catch up. So again, now that was the hardest thing that I ever had to do.
Yeah.
So now I'm an idiot and I have to follow in her footsteps to get out of the house. So I had to turn around and claim bankruptcy. And like all that's over with now, which is good. And things are getting better.
Yeah.
But that was the only way I would get out of the house. Otherwise, I would be paying that house. And I'd be paying all the rears.
So now again, I don't know what happens, but when you claim bankruptcy, basically all your debt is gone.
All your debt is gone.
Did they take the house and pay off whatever was owed? And
so what I had to do is I got to foreclose on the home.
Okay.
So I got to go to the bank and say, here's the keys.
Yep.
And sign the house away.
And you don't get anything.
Well, I got a little something.
Yeah.
Where I was working before, some guy needed a dishwasher. Some guy needed a fridge and a washer and dryer. And
yeah.
I took all the main things out of the house I could.
Yep.
And there was a sign on the door saying you can't enter. And fuck you, I'm entering.
Okay.
Whatever, I sold off what I could.
Well, I mean, it's just like the furniture and everything. Like she took...
yeah.
She sold it
I had
or
nothing.
Whatever, yeah.
I had nothing. I didn't have, any of the kids' stuff and whatever. So now I had to start fresh as a dad.
Yeah.
Single dad. And I'm going to have the kids for weekends. So it's like now I got to go buy a bunch of clothes for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to go out and get a bed for them. Now I got to do everything. Right.
So this bankruptcy didn't really affected your court order of seeing the kids or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So anyway, now back to the lawyer side of it. He had everything wrapped up, and he just needed her signature.
Yep.
And I sign it. It's the finalized document. He gives it to her lawyer. Her lawyer's not signing it. Brianna's not signing it. And then I'm bugging my lawyer like every week. Hey, like, did you get it? Did you get it? Nothing, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to call him again. It's like...
And that all cost money.
Every time you talk to a lawyer, it's going to cost you money, right? And so, I mean, at this point in time, I've given him all my information. I've given him, taxes, pay stubs, the whole story, everything. And each time he looks at something like that, you're looking at $300-something an hour, right? They're not cheap.
Yep.
And so then all of a sudden I get an email from him saying, I've done everything I can, but unfortunately I need to resign, like my position, like not just as your lawyer, but completely.
Yeah.
So he had some sort of illness and he actually ended up passing away.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he's going to pass my
case
onto the next guy, and the next guy, all he needs to do is get the signature. And it
sounds simple.
It sounds so simple, right? The next guy, all of a sudden needs my pay stubs. All of a sudden needs my taxes. All of a sudden needs this.
All of a sudden he charges you more.
And all of a sudden it's $5,000.
He's doing the research again that was already done.
Everything was done. He just needs a signature. And that guy raked me for another $5,000.
Yeah.
I'm already $10,000 into it now.
And what do you do?
Nothing. I'm already
pay.
halfway there.
You have to pay for it.
I think I'm at the end.
Yeah.
But I'm not, And then he eventually came by and he said, well, I'm going to be really busy this upcoming October. I'm going to pass your case on to somebody else. I'm like, you didn't do anything. And I owed him $5,000.
Yeah.
So I told the next guy, I said, this is enough. I've gone through 2. The first one wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
I felt horrible for this guy, and rest his soul, he was a great lawyer. So I got passed on to the third guy, and I told the third guy, I said, listen,
You better not ask for a pay stub.
All you need is a signature. And I said, while you're at it, I says, I want 50-50 with my girls. You have everything. Everything that you need from me, you have. Because these other two guys took it twice.
Yeah.
So you better have it. And I said, don't call me till it's all figured out. And he goes, well, 50-50. He goes, do you realize that that's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars? I'm like, how? He goes, well, we got to talk to her and see if she's okay with it. I'm like, well, why does it matter to her?
Like, she didn't sign the weekends.
She couldn't even sign the document.
Yeah.
Why does it matter what she thinks? You know, I'm a father.
So, but this is court ordered.
Mm-hmm.
So legally, doesn't she legally have to sign it?
That's kind of what I thought.
Okay.
You know,
but she didn't.
So she didn't sign it then. And so I went through those three lawyers, and this third lawyer realized that I'm not paying him a dime. So right away he dropped me. I'm like, okay, so now I'm left with documents and no signature on her end. So really none of this means anything now.
Mm-hmm.
So later on in life, we actually got another lawyer involved.
Okay.
This was some sort of cheap lawyer. I don't know how we found her. Worked somebody else's case that we knew. And she told me, she goes, look, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do it because I'd be way too much. I'm going to pass it on to like our student or intern, whatever she is, young person. So she took it and got her to sign it.
Okay.
And I was like, well, right on. So now I have a signed document. So now I'm only stuck at the every second weekend and one night during the week.
But that's like fucking 9 years ago or 10 years ago.
Like this. So, and that there was only figured out maybe 2 years ago.
Wow.
Like a bit after we had met.
Yeah.
You know? And so whatever. Like, I mean, I've just kind of been trying to go with the flow because I can't afford to like throw out another 10 grand.
Okay, so now I want to touch on a little bit of your relationship with your kids, because obviously when you're living with your kids, you have that relationship, but when you're not, now you gotta, I think you, at least I assume you have to work quite hard to maintain that relationship because you only see them once in a while.
So first off, kids don't come with a manual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, they don't. They should.
How would you get that?
How can we make that happen? That would be amazing.
So kids don't come with a manual, and I didn't grow up with a dad.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to figure out how to navigate this on my own now?
Yeah.
And I just did the best I could with what I had. And, you know, so girls come to my house and dad has rules. So I'm going to, you can't beat up your sister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You hit your sister, you go to your room.
Yeah.
Right? You got to lay those rules, you know? And I didn't know what's happening on that side, right? So
one would think that
you would think, yeah. So
you would be going on the same path with the kids, right?
So everything was going really, really good for a long time. And I was seeing the kids on my weekends. And then this one weekend, like the girls would get mad at me. And because I gave them trouble for something.
Yeah.
And it was like the next time
How dare you, Dad?
The next time that they were supposed to come over, like say they come over on a Thursday night. I could almost, like, it was like clockwork. I knew, I was like, okay, I'm going to get a call. Oh, I'm sick. I'm not going to come over.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I have an assignment that needs to, whatever. I got to do this. Or,
you can do it here.
All these excuses,
you can be sick
right?
here.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Come over here and be sick. You can lay in your bed.
Yep.
And then, so one time, my older daughter comes over and we had a bit of an issue. And she got in trouble.
And this was like puberty time?
No.
Not necessarily, okay.
Yeah, you know what? It would be around
maybe
that.
Start of it?
Yeah. 9, 10 years old.
Okay.
And, no, wait. Yeah, you know what? It would have been about 10 years old for sure.
Yeah.
Because it was when Landon, my son, with my fiance now, was born.
Okay.
So we got mad at each other, and I was trying to get her ready for going out for Thanksgiving dinner. Landon's sleeping, and I'm trying to get Hadley to brush her teeth before we leave.
Yeah.
My older daughter goes, "You don't need to make her do that," and blah, 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 right? And she's trying to protect her sister. I'm like, "Hadley, you need to brush it." And like, now I'm getting mad. I'm like taking the toothbrush. I'm holding Hadley's head. It's like, I got her in almost, not like a headlock, but and I'm brushing her teeth, because we're going to be late.
Yeah, let's go.
My son is sleeping, having a nap before we go out for dinner. My older daughter starts screaming at the top of her lungs. I'm like, "Hey, stop. Like, you're going to wake your brother up." Yeah. And so finally I'm like, "Go to your room. You can't make me go to my room." I was like, "You watch me, and you're going to your room."
Yeah.
So I shut the door, and she's screaming. She shared a wall with her brother. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So it was a big yelling match, and now Landon's waking up, and here I am in her room, and I'm like, "Shut up! Like, you need to stop."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I put my hand over her mouth.
Yeah.
Like, not over her nose, but I was like, "You need to be quiet." And like you're gonna wake your brother up, Well, she went home and told her mom, like, that I got on top of her, my knees in her chest, and I covered her mouth. And I'm like, "Do you realize if I were to do that, your lungs would have collapsed?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the lightest guy.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
So she went home, and then it's just like she never returned.
Mm-hmm.
And we always kind of had like this, she kind of just like left our lives. She wanted nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden she didn't like Michelle anymore. She didn't like the rules at Dad's place.
Yeah.
I've never beat my kids. I've never hit I'll be honest with you, man, I've spanked my kids.
Oh, yeah.
When they were younger.
Spanking and beating the shit out of your kids is two different things.
Two completely different things, There's always food in the fridge for them to eat, clothes to, whatever, and a bed to sleep in, and give them whatever I can. And so she left and didn't want to have nothing to do with Dad. So she went back to Mom's place. Mm. And I started to figure out that Mom's place didn't have rules. So it was like whatever she did there would fly.
Yeah.
Because now Mom needs to be better than Dad, right? So it's like a stupid game.
Yeah. And your ex knew this.
Yeah, my ex knew this, right? So
took an advantage.
So she was it was like she was trying to get the kids to want to be there more, right? So that happened for a while, and me and my daughter have been doing great. Like, she comes over every once in a while. Like, I mean, but she's older now. She's 15, and she goes to a movie with her friends and whatever. But I still think of her as being like the 10-year-old kid. I'm like, spend time with us,
That's right, yeah. And I tell my daughter all the time, I'm like, stop growing.
Yeah, it's horrible.
You're an asshole now. Like, you were so nice when you were little.
She's got this personality, but I mean, now, fast forward to back to me and my ex. My ex struggles with substance addictions and whatever. Now, after me, she's single for a really long time, and it was just her and her sister.
Yeah.
And her sister decided, and they like their wine and their smokes, whatever.
Yeah.
And her sister met this guy that was like this big buff guy, really healthy. Actually wrote a book. He's a really good author. Now he's living a sober life. So now her sister wants to live a sober life, right?
Yeah.
So they live together, and they're living this beautiful sober life. Well, now my ex didn't have anyone to be with. And so she went on to Tinder and met a couple guys. One of them was named Kyle after me. And actually, I knew that guy from back where we used to live. Okay. And I think that's kind of where things started to go bad, because we left where we used to live behind, right? And so she met this guy. Now she started drinking again. And, all of a sudden, she met another guy, because the first one, apparently we've all cheated on her.
Yeah.
Like that's her out. And I cheated on her, apparently. And this guy, Kyle, cheated on her. Whatever. So she she met the latest guy, named Dylan, and my ex is 38, and she met a guy that's 30 years old, off Tinder.
Okay. Yeah.
Which, I mean, for me, it's a bit of a age gap.
Whatever.
But it is what it is.
Yep.
You know, there's been bigger age gaps.
Yep.
And so she met this guy off Tinder, and a month or two later, she was pregnant.
Okay.
And I mean, I kind of laugh about a lot of things, you know? And I just sit back and laugh.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't realize how bad it's going to affect not only my kids' lives, my life,
Yep.
everyone around her's life, and that's when it got really bad again. So I mean, all of a sudden she was coming home wasted, and now my kids
are in her care,
and now my older one is reaching out to me. So I mean,
your older one reached out to you.
My older one starts like the younger one was telling me everything that's happening, right?
Yeah.
But my older one just couldn't hold it anymore and needed somebody to talk to because they can't talk to her about it.
Yeah.
So I hate that she reached out to me, and that's how we kind of rekindled.
Yep.
But I always told her, like, I'll always be her ears.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and it sucks that that's the circumstance, but that's a good win for you because
it was a good win.
You're building up that relationship now with your daughter, right?
So I was building up a relationship, and then
she finally saw the bullshit.
Yeah, and then but then my ex would go after my older daughter and knock her down a couple pegs and say, "Dad's just doing this to get your love," or some stupid crap. So then she would disappear. My daughter would disappear again, and then all of a sudden she'd start coming back, right? And then finally,
something would happen.
Because something would happen, and and I've been telling this story about my ex that she's a compulsive liar, for years, okay, and no one believed me. Her best friend didn't believe me. Her sister didn't believe me. Her parents didn't believe me, right? Because they all believed her side of the story, right? Who am I, you know?
Yeah.
And so now she meets this guy, and they're doing their thing. And he's buying my kids stuff, right? Whatever.
All right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Spend your money.
But all of a sudden, I get a call from, I'm at my in-laws.
And she was still pregnant, your ex? Okay.
Yeah, she's still pregnant with him, right? Or not now, but like...
No, at the time, yeah. Like the baby wasn't born yet.
No.
Yeah.
I'm at my Aunt Michelle's parents' place, my in-laws, and I get a call from my daughter. Actually, first I get a picture, and there's ketchup pouring down my daughter's head. And I'm like, what happened? And this fool dumped ketchup on my daughter and dragged her across the floor. And everything went through my mind, like, get the keys, put your shoes on, time to go.
Beat the shit out of him. I'm going to jail.
I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly what I would have thought.
Yeah. And I'm on the way out the door, and my father-in-law gets word of this, pours me a drink. Stiff drink.
Yeah.
No mix. Puts it in my face. And here's me. Oh, okay, sure. This is perfect for me right now. I need this. Whoop, right? And all of a sudden, right behind that one, another one. Whoop, whoop, and I'm down in these drinks,
Smart man.
And he goes, now you can't go anywhere. Because he knew...
Son of a bitch.
he knew if I went there in the position that I'm in, I'm going to fuck something up bad.
100%.
Whether it's him or myself on the way. And he knew that I'm not going to drink and drive.
Yep.
Especially at that extent.
Yep.
And so I talked to somebody that I know that's in the police department.
Okay.
My brother's buddy.
Yep.
And I said, like, man, what do I do?
Yeah.
He goes, you can't even so much as spit on him. He said, he wants you to do this. He did this because he wants you to come at him.
Yeah.
He wants to get you out of the picture. He says, the second you spit on him, the second you just nudge him, he's going to charge you with assault. And you're out of the picture now.
Yeah.
And what he said to me was, if you're out of the picture, what good are you to your kids?
Yep.
And so I've always kind of kept that in the back of my head.
That's good. Yeah.
So I mean, I've gotten everything from you can say whatever you want to me. You can give me a death threat. I don't care, right? But then he starts saying it to my kids, right? And he's like, "I'm gonna leave your dad dead in the streets." And again, I'm like, "All right, let's tune this guy up.
Take a deep breath."
You know, and then I got to think again, take a deep breath, right?
Yep.
Back off. But so anyway, fast forward.
So clearly this guy's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit.
And your ex has bad taste in men, clearly.
Easy what you say. All right? She said that to a doctor the other week, and I looked at her and I'm like, you piece of shit, right? But so anyway, my younger daughter calls me one day and she goes, "Dad, Dylan just got arrested."
I wonder why.
And I'm like, well, what happened? You know, and I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to press charges on him, and for whatever reason, they just said there's not enough proof.
Yep.
When he did this to my daughter. Well, he got mad at my ex and choked her right up against the wall in front of my youngest one. My 10-year-old. And so he got arrested. So I picked my daughter up on a Thursday evening, and she's crying in the truck because she liked this guy. My younger daughter liked this guy.
At first, like you said, he was buying them stuff. And
that's why she liked this guy, right? I'm like, but 2 weeks ago, you're mad that he dragged you across the floor and dumped ketchup all over you, right? And 2 weeks ago, Dad almost murdered somebody. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now you like this guy. But you're sad. I think you're sad because the gift giver is leaving now, right? So he gets arrested. I got to give him kudos for something. He called the cops on himself.
Oh, okay.
And the cops came and picked him up, put a no contact order in place. So then, you know, our justice system is not the greatest.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think any is, but yeah.
Oh, this one's not very great. Where if we were on the other side of the border, it might be a little different.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'd be around. But he, 3 days later, he's let out of jail. You assaulted somebody. You choked a woman up against the wall. You're a fool.
Yeah.
And you come back.
First of all, you're a coward.
That's what I call him. He's a coward.
You're a coward for doing that.
So he comes back, and what does my ex do? She lets him back in the house, right? And so, you know, the kid.
At this point, they have the baby already, right?
Yeah. They got the baby now. And she lets him back in the house. Then she gets mad at him, and then she calls the cops on him because he's not supposed to be there. I'm like, you guys are both idiots, right? So she's not very smart for letting him back. He's not very smart for the things that he's doing. Yeah. Especially, don't do that in front of kids.
No,
don't do it at all, but definitely not in front of kids. So this keeps happening. She lets him back. He gets arrested. Away he goes again, right? Yeah. I find out about this no contact order. And so I find out the kids would tell me, he's here, Dad, he's here. So they're too scared to call the cops. And I mean, they shouldn't have to call the cops, right?
No, they should never be in that position, yeah.
And so Dad would call the cops. The cops would go there. And now it got to the point where my ex would lie to the authorities. The police.
So she's protecting a guy that has no contact order against her. Okay.
So I'm on the phone with my daughter.
She's smart.
And I'm also on the phone with the cop. And so whatever, the cops head down there. I'm still on the phone with my daughter. The cops come to the door, and they ask my ex who's on the house. And she goes, it's just me and the girls. And thank God my daughter said, she goes, no, Mom, you're lying. Dylan's downstairs in your bedroom right now. So the cops go downstairs. And they bang on the door for like 5 minutes.
Really?
Dylan, come out. We know you're in there. Dylan, it's enough. Stop playing the game. Dylan, let's go. Finally, they just go in and they get him.
Yeah.
Guys like my size, hiding under her bed. How did you get under this bed? I don't get it. And so anyway, pretty much long story short, it got worse because he kept going back, and I couldn't trust her for not allowing him to not come back.
Yeah.
Not allowing him to come back. I had to go get a protection order for my girls.
Okay.
Well, thinking that might make the difference, right? Because she would get the no contact order dropped because they wanted to fix their relationship.
Okay. Sure.
So I need to put in a law.
Yeah.
Right? So I put in I go to court.
Were you successful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do a protection order for my girls.
Against him, yeah.
Against him. And, Taryn, my older one, went down there with me, and she said what she needed to say.
Yeah.
Her story, not me. And I said what I needed to say, and we got granted.
Okay.
So he's not allowed within 200 meters of their home, their school, my home.
Yep.
Like any of their homes, like places that
where
where
the girls could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just found out that my home actually falls under that.
Okay.
So even if they're not there and he shows up, you're technically breaching the order.
Okay.
So the guy starts showing up at their house again. So I get the cops called.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone. So then he's, it starts small. Oh, he broke an order, or he broke a court order. So he gets locked up for 3 days. Right?
Mm.
It doesn't make sense to me.
So they feed him there, they take care of him, and they let him out again.
So then it happens again, he gets locked up for a week. Gets it happened again, it gets locked up for a week and a half.
Yeah.
And it's slowly climbing, right? So right now we're at about a month. Every time he gets locked up, he's locked up for about a month. And he went back and he beat the shit out of my ex again.
Oh, really?
So last Mother's Day, I get a call from my daughter. He dragged her across the parking lot or something by her hair, like there with Grandma and Grandpa, drags her across the parking lot, pours beer all over her. And all of a sudden, I got a message from him on Mother's Day, and I'm at my sister-in-law's place. He says, "You got to do something with your ex." And like, it's a random number. Yeah. It's not. He actually, my younger daughter got an iPhone for Christmas. It got taken away from her for her behavior.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's a Christmas present.
Yeah.
You give it back eventually.
Yeah, like take it away for an evening.
Or
whatever,
a month.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever. But she took it away, and she gave it to Dylan. Okay? Like, so I have my daughter's phone number in here. 'Cause I can't erase it because it says my daughter's name with 2 little hearts, whatever. I just can't bring myself to erase it.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's not even hers anymore.
It's his number.
It's his number.
Jesus.
So but I didn't get a text message from that number. I got a text message from a random generated number. So he generates these numbers, and he'd call me at all hours of the night. But he calls me on Mother's Day and he says, "You got to do something with your ex." I'm like, what do you mean? No reply. And then he had the balls to message her parents. Yeah. Say the same thing. You got to go help her. So all of a sudden, I'm racing back from East St. Paul. Her parents are racing all over Transcona, and they find her. She just looks like a battered piece of shit.
Yeah. She's
beaten up. And I don't get why. I mean, I don't know, but why do women let these guys back in their lives?
I have no idea.
And so then another highlight to the whole thing was after all that, and he finally gets arrested again. Then when he gets out, he goes back to her house, and he doesn't have a license because he rolled his car maybe a year ago, right?
Okay.
Well, he borrows the girlfriend's, because my ex doesn't have a vehicle, so her parents gave her a truck, a Dodge Ram, a used piece of shit.
Yeah, whatever.
So he goes back to her house. They get in the Dodge Ram.
Lets him in again.
Lets him in again. They hook up this piece of junk camper, like one that you would see left out on the ice somewhere for ice fishing, right?
Yeah.
One of those hunkers. They hook it up. They pull it to the Walmart on Regent there. Guy's living out of the Walmart camper. But when they dropped it there, they pulled back out onto Regent, and the cops pulled him over. He doesn't have a license. That's right. So the truck got seized. So her parents got a call that the truck was seized.
Just a mess. This is just a snowball of trouble.
It just keeps getting worse. And finally now the camper has been removed from some towing company picked it up and whatever. But he's been locked up. And I just, this year alone, and this is sad to say, but this year alone, what are we, midway through September?
Yeah.
I've had him arrested at least 10 times.
Yeah. So, okay, I think we could be talking about him and your ex.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's clearly it's a very toxic relationship, and it's clearly not good for your kids. Does this give you any legal power to take the girls for, go to 50-50 or even full time? Because clearly, like, your ex as a mother can't make good decisions on her own, and like your kids are suffering and you're suffering.
How do you do that?
Right?
How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like,
you got to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I've had 3 lawyers suck me dry.
Yeah.
Or 2 lawyers really suck me dry. But
yeah.
But then it's just like, how do I? So right now, like, I'm paying for my house.
Yeah.
I'm paying.
And so you're in a new relationship. You have a third kid.
I have my stuff in my house that I got to take care of. I have vehicle payments. I have child support.
Yeah.
I got all these bills.
Yeah, you're still paying child support for.
I'm still paying child support
for your ex to make bad decisions.
My ex isn't even watching the kids at all.
Yeah.
Like the kids go from my house to the grandparents' place.
Oh, really?
And then on weekends they go to grandma's camper. Like on my ex's weekend, they go to grandma's camper. My ex stays in the city, and this guy comes over. Right.
So, do you even need a lawyer, or can you actually go to the court saying like, hey, like, kind of representing yourself, saying like, would your ex's parents actually side with you?
They side with me, okay, but
like
it's like every once in a while, it's like they're the problem too, because
they're enabling.
Like every time something happens, they let her in.
Yeah.
She lies to them.
You know what? I have a coworker who has 2 sons. They're older. One of them has some medical issues. The other one is a stoner, and he's kicked them out. But then he always lets them in. It's your kid, right?
I mean, here's the thing: you're always gonna let your kids in, whether they do you wrong or not.
Yeah.
You don't want to see your kids on the street. You don't want to see anyone on the streets. You don't want to see your kids on the streets.
Exactly. So I think that's what they're doing. But like, I mean, I can't see you possibly winning custody over your kids and not letting your kids see the grandparents, right?
No,
right? Like I don't think that would be the case.
Even I've said to the grandparents, her mom, I said, what I would like to do is pay you guys child support.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, like I'm watching my girls on my time.
Yeah,
and you're watching them on her time.
You're raising my kids.
I would rather pay you child support than pay her, because all my money that's going to her is she goes out and gets a tattoo. She goes out and she feeds this guy.
Yeah.
I don't see my kids coming over with new clothes.
Yeah.
I don't like, and they're like, well, Mom doesn't spend time with me.
Yeah.
So I give her this money, and then nothing ever gets done. But when I said to the mother-in-law about a month back, I'd rather give you child support.
Yeah.
She goes, no, keep paying her child support. I'm like, well, why? She said, well, she's on mat leave right now, and that's the only thing that she's got to keep the house. I'm like, do you not understand like how much you're enabling everything?
Yeah.
Since I've split with my ex, I've had 3 vehicles: a Ford Ranger, the red Chevy that you knew, and this blue truck.
Yeah.
Okay. Since we split, she's had 10 vehicles. Okay.
They're all wrecked or seized or.
This one came from Mom. This one came from Dad. This one came from an uncle. This one came from her mom again. Like literally, they're just hand-me-down cars.
Yeah.
And it's, you guys let it happen. Then you go pay your insurance, and then they took her car away.
Jesus.
They took her car away. She took a bus for a week, and then they give it back. So like, what did she learn? Nothing.
So where are you today with the kids?
Today,
like your relationship with your kids. Is it because it started out pretty.
Today
good,
is great.
Then it kind of went rough, and then now it's back to good.
Today is great. I talk to my kids, if not every night, every second, third night. Before it was like I only got to
text
talk to
or
them.
phone calls.
Phone calls too. See how their day was and stuff. I didn't really have that before.
Yeah.
Mom wouldn't let them talk to me.
Yeah.
all that crap, right? So now that they're mostly been at grandma's house,
they have somewhat rules too, probably.
they have rules,
and but they can call you.
They can call me.
I guess her parents are not really shitting on you.
No, so that's the other thing.
That's a good thing, yeah.
And Michelle told me, and my mom told me years ago, you got to wait for Taryn to come around.
Yeah.
She'll come around, trust me. And I could never see it happening. And eventually it did.
Yeah.
Under the worst circumstances, but it did. Okay. And then I was like, why don't any of these people see these problems?
Yeah.
And they said, don't worry. One day they're going to see these problems just like you did.
Yeah.
So now her parents have seen the problem.
Have one eye on it.
Exactly,
already,
right? I also got CFS involved.
Yep.
And that was going good. And then my ex friended the CFS lady. So literally that kind of went right back down. But I mean, even her best friend that lives down the street from her hated my guts, man.
Yeah.
Hated my guts. Even on that Transcontinental page would just stomp on me. Eh?
Yeah.
And then one day I said, why don't you fucking ask my side of the story?
Yeah.
And don't do this shit on here.
Yeah.
Message me. Talk to me.
Yeah, don't air your dirty laundry on Facebook.
Fucking, and...
It's here again.
So she messaged me, and all of a sudden she goes, wow, shit. She goes, I never realized this. Like, I can see what you're saying now. And now she's like my little detective.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, she'll be like, oh, fuck.
She's your inside person.
Yeah. Dylan's there.
Oh, that's good.
And the other night, she's like, come over. It's like 10:30 at night. My family's sleeping. I'm like, a couple drinks in. I'm like, fuck. I have to call the cops. Like my truck would be. I was like, fuck it. Get on my bike. I biked all the way there, man. We got him arrested. He was locked up for a month, and then he got out.
So, and that's, it's one of those things that I would never, if we were to split with my wife, I would never want anything bad happen to my wife, right? But if she decides to ruin her fucking life and get into this toxic relationship, whatever, leave my kids out of it. And it sucks that I think for a dad, it's so hard to prove that the mom is a piece of shit. And some people might call me biased, but that's the reality. Even if it comes to rape, like a woman says a man raped me, a man has to prove that he didn't. If you say it the other way around, they'll be like, no, did it really happen? And that might be that might be the stigma that's been built up for years. But at the end of the day, I think if it was reversed, where you got custody and she would get the second weekend and every Thursday, and you started doing the shit that she's doing, your kids would have been taken away probably a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that's the shitty part about the justice system and how shit works.
Well, I asked CFS, and I don't care what anyone really says, if they think CFS is great or not. I asked CFS what their objective here is, and they said to keep the kids safe. Okay?
But they're clearly not. They weren't.
They aren't.
And, I mean, they're with your ex-in-laws, so they're somewhat safer than when they were living with your ex and the new partner.
I asked CFS what your plan is here, and they said, well, we're going to give her a random, because she's drinking and driving with the kids.
Yeah.
With my younger one. My older one's branched off away from her. My older one strictly lives at grandma and grandpa's house.
Oh, okay.
And then comes to my house every once in a while.
Okay.
My younger one, like, they both love their little sister.
Yeah.
It's their sister, right?
Yeah.
But my older one has realized that she cannot help.
Yeah.
Because nothing is changing. Mm-hmm. My younger one still wants to be part of mom's life, and part of us think that she wants to watch over her sister.
She's also 10.
But she also wants to watch over her sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, so anyway, it's tough, man. It's the hardest part is watching my kids go through all this.
Yeah.
No kid should have to go through any of this.
No. So these are messages from...
No, these are notes.
Oh, notes.
So I was told to take notes, like as much information as I could.
Yeah.
Anything that ever happens. So I've got notes that are dating back to August 16th, 2022. Okay?
Okay.
And it's, times, dates, pictures, this, that, whatever happened, right? Look how long it takes to scroll through this, okay? And I gave up writing. These are different notes. I gave up writing on January 14th, 2024.
Yeah.
I haven't wrote anything since because nothing's happening. Nothing's changing.
Yeah.
But you take this, what I have here, and I did it one day at my last job. Copy and pasted everything, put it into an audio, and listened to it in my headphones, man. I was sitting in a welding shop full of guys, and I just started crying.
Yeah.
Because some of the shit that's in there is...
Yeah.
It's tough. Like, I mean, I know it was my own words.
Yeah, but
I mean, just to remember that and what happened that day and that time.
Yeah.
My kids calling me crying that like you can't even understand them.
Yeah.
Or they haven't eaten tonight. It's 10 o'clock
and you're
at
like
night.
you're not there to be able to help them, hold them, support them, right? Like
absolutely,
that's gotta be so fucking hard.
Like, I mean, I know like everyone has their good days and bad days. I do have, like I said earlier, I'm like 7, whatever.
Yep.
I do have a lot of bad days where if something happened this week, it'd fuck my whole week.
Yeah.
And because I'm constantly thinking about the kids' safety.
Yep, for sure.
But it's...
Well, you'd be a piece of shit if you didn't.
No, yeah, I guess.
Right? Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just living one day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that, you don't have to deal with any bullshit tomorrow, right? And hopefully your kids are happy. And,
I talked to a cop today.
Did you?
He called me.
Yeah.
Because of the last arrest. Kind of gave me the scoop as to what happened. And as much as he could tell me.
Yeah.
Very vague. But he told me everything that this guy is doing won't ever get him any time in jail.
Any real time, yeah.
Any real time. It's all petty shit. And I was like, I had to stop him. I was like, it's not really petty to me, man. Like, like
the thing is, it's petty to him, but like your kids
are suffering.
They'll remember these things can scar them for life.
For sure.
And I can't believe that CFS has not fucking stepped in.
They have a 6-month-old kid together, man. He missed baby's first Christmas.
Yeah.
He's only been around for maybe about a month of that kid's life. And it's like, how hard is this?
It's unbelievable, but
I hope things get better.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we as dads, like we can hope that our kids turn out okay in life, right? No matter what challenges happen to them or happens around them. Like I used to punch walls and shit. Like I used to lose my shit. So my daughter still till this day, if me and my wife start arguing, she kind of just like, is this going to turn into a big fight? But we haven't had a big fight for years now.
You guys are doing great, man. That's awesome.
And like we haven't had a big fight in, I would say, the last time I lost my shit was right when I was going through depression. So 5 years ago, like just before COVID or during COVID. And so, but since then there was we had big fights, but like not where I was punching
not
walls.
Physical.
No, and I never touched my wife, never hit her, but like I would punch walls, and now I fucking have to fix the drywall, right? But
and who feels like an idiot at the end of the day?
Me, 100%, yeah. And like, so I'm glad that I've changed that, and I'm working on very hard when when shit gets heated, I walk away, right, and just kind of do my own thing. And but that affected my daughter. So things that we do in our lives, it affects our kids,
of course.
And so
whether you see it or not,
yeah, exactly. So we have to do better every day to make sure that we don't, we steer them the right direction. And I hope that my kids turn out a little bit better than I was.
I'm sure they will. Yeah.
And they're way better. But
yeah, they're doing great already. So,
but I'm happy to hear that your kids are doing better and all right. Like that your relationship kind of got restored.
I think it's more of a coping with them. They're going with it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Waiting to see what happens.
But you mentioned your relationship has kind of restored, yes. So that's great, and hoping that continues to grow, right? And even just for the sake of that little baby that they have together, like
we hope the best for her too.
Exactly.
Even though, I would take her if I could in a heartbeat.
Right. And it's still your daughter's sister, yeah. So, but I would like to thank you for coming to the show and sharing your crazy story, because I know we've talked about this, and again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, that it's worthy of sharing on here, because I'm sure, maybe not exact same story, but I'm sure there's guys out there that went through.
I just don't know how to sum it up. All the other guests you've had, they sum it up so nice.
Well, I'll re-listen to this and see how messy it is.
Mine's ongoing. It's problem still.
It kind of jumps back and forth. We jumped back and forth a little bit, but that's okay. At the end of the day, I think it probably feels good. I hope it feels good for you to share it, right? Yeah. And we've had conversations about this shit, and it's tough. I don't know what you're going through, other than from your side of the story, or from your stories that you've told me, and it's shitty. I wouldn't want to be there, right? So, so as a thank you, I know you've been waiting for a mug like this.
I already stole one.
Well, this is you can officially now take it home.
That's where all the fruit flies have been.
That's right. And we got one of the new stickers as well for you.
Nice, man. I got one of these too.
We'll have another one. Yeah, I'm
gonna give one.
We're just doing this for the show. Just accept it, okay?
I love it. Maybe I'll give it to Brianna.
That's right. Yeah,
no, fuck her.
But thank you very much again for joining me and kind of helping me out a little bit, because my co-host couldn't be here today. So
yeah, screw that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But you know what? I'll give you guys credit. Honestly, you guys are doing a great show. The two of you. I mean, as much as we all, rag on each other.
Oh,
right?
we do all the time.
Outside of the show, right?
Well, and like we mentioned it on the show, if I'm not making fun of you, we're not friends.
Yeah. But honestly, the first two shows that you guys made, I messaged you right away. I was so excited to hear, okay, how crappy is this podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I can't wait. And I listened to your side. I think you were first.
I think Tim was first, and then me.
Okay, so whatever. And I was like, holy shit!
Well,
fucking asshole didn't tell me any of this stuff. But and you guys have done great.
Well, and that was the whole point. We can't ask guests to come on our show and be vulnerable if we're not going to be vulnerable ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So it's and that's why
I didn't know that stuff about you, and I didn't know that stuff about him, and what you guys were struggling with, and you guys are doing great.
Yeah, and so it's we were trying to break the silence, right?
Absolutely.
Every episode, or one episode at a time, as we try to keep it on this sticker. It's a new slogan that we're trying to go with.
You guys gonna change this? Yeah. This is wicked.
No, it says.
Oh
there. Breaking the silence, one episode at a time.
I don't know if I read the last sticker or not.
It's the same thing.
Well, I know that, but
you probably didn't read it. It's right in your wallet too. You're supposed to stick it on something.
I'm waiting to put it on my truck.
Yeah, there you go. Wonderful. But yeah, so for the listeners, I hope you guys enjoyed this messy show.
Yeah.
But and I hope you guys can relate to it. And if there's a similar story that one of you guys have, let us know. Or let us know what you thought of it. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook as well. It's at Quiet Riot Show. And check out our YouTube channel too. And yeah, feel free to rate the show if you like it. Every star is appreciated. And again, Kyle, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. Yeah. It feels great to talk about it. I tell as many people as want to listen. But
all right, cheers.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
All Quiet Riot Show episodes have been recorded and produced by SuverMedia. If you think you have an idea for a podcast but don't have the space or proper equipment, please visit SuverMedia.com for more information. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please hit the follow button and leave us a review if the platform you are listening on allows you to do so. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Quiet Riot Show, and follow us on the Instagram page @QuietRiotShow. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in these topics. If you know anyone that would enjoy these topics, feel free to share our podcast with them. Also, let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch with us in the comments on our channel and social media, or send us an email to quietriotshow@gmail.com.